is yours, is yours.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see those of you here in person and to know that there are those of you watching virtually as well. So excited to be here in this space and in this world, virtually connecting with you all. We begin singing together today with Hine Matov. The music or the text can be found on page 10 if you don't know it in your Siddur. And I welcome you, even from home, to join in and feel a part of this community. Hine Matov. Hine Matov u'manayim, Shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim, Shevet achim gam yachad. Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is that we can dwell together We're also so excited to have the good and pleasant experience of hearing from tomorrow's bat mitzvah, Sophie Hicks and her family, who are going to come up and present the blessings over our candles and our wine. You can come up right now. Welcoming Sophie Hicks, Sister Emma, Mom Jill, Father Andy. And we turn now in our Siddur to page 2 for the blessing over the Shabbat candles, kindling the fire of Shabbat in our hearts as well as the lights here in our space.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who calls us mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Wonderful. And now we all rise as a community for the blessing over the wine, the kiddush, found on page 4 and 5 in your Siddur.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam,
Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kosho be'avahu ratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereishit. Hu yom tefillah l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher yetziat Mitzrayim kivanu malchata v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodesh Ve'ahava uvratzon hinchiltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim, if you would like to take a sip, I believe it's grape juice. Looking for confirmation? Excellent, it is grape juice, so. Beautifully done. Thank you so much. We're so excited to celebrate more tomorrow at Sophie's bat mitzvah. Wonderful. And you can go ahead and find your seats. You may all take your seats. Thank you so much. And we continue now with a reading on page 8. Please join with me. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. And now on page 12, we join in song with Lechu Neranena. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai. Raise a shout for our rock and deliverer. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. Naria, Litzuri, Shenu Nikadma. Thank you so much. And now we turn to Lecha Dodi on page 20, our song of welcoming in the Sabbath bride. On our last verse, we will all rise together and face the entrance, welcoming the Sabbath bride with our bodies, feeling ourselves be involved. I welcome anyone at home to also stand at that moment in body or spirit, just embodying this part of this prayer and this song, Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet b'li tihila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Likrat Shabbat lechuv nelcha ki hi mekor haberacha Berosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Hitorari Kiva orei kumi ori Uri shir daberi Kvod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Boi v'shalom ateret ba'alam Gam b'simcha uv'tzola Toch emunei am sigula Boi chala Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala yararai 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 ne Shabbat ne kabela. Wonderful. And now, as we are standing, I invite you to turn to one another, greet each other, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom, maybe someone that you haven't seen in a long time or haven't seen this week. Wish everyone a greeting. Beautiful. And I invite you now to go ahead and take a seat and turn to page 24 in your Siddur, in your prayer book for Shalom Aleichem, where we greet the ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, whatever this might mean for you, represent for you. Shalom Aleichem. This arrangement was written by one of my classmates and friends from Cantorial School. I hope you enjoy. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach Yerutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala, u'v'zman kariv, ve'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, Shemei de'kudesha brichu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'himru, Amen. And now, turning to page 28 in our prayer book, we rise together as a community for the Baruch Hu, the beginning of our Shema liturgy. Yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 And now, together on page 31, praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. And on the following page, everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And on the following pages, Shema. Shema. Invite most of you to be seated except for our upcoming bat mitzvah, who can come up and lead us in the Ve'ahavta prayer, which can be found on page 36 of your Siddur.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha V'chayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shanantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shitecha b'betecha uvlesecha v'derech Uv'shochbecha, uv'kumecha, uv'shartam leot al yadecha, v'chayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha, leman tizkeru, ba'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Vitam kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Asher yotzeti echem. Meretz mitzrayim. Lehot lechem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
Beautifully done, Yasser Koach.
Thank you.
Well chanted. We're so excited for tomorrow morning when we get to hear more of Sophie, and I can tell you it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful celebration of becoming an adult in Jewish life. And now we turn to another song of transition, our Mi Chamocha, where we think about the Exodus, the transition from slavery in Egypt across the sea. We think about the many seas that we are crossing at this time, and we pray for the strength we need to get through it and celebrate those seas that we have already crossed. Mi chamocha on page 40 in your prayer book. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osefele, nora tehilot osefele. Malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze'eli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov u'ga'alo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Hashkivenu. We join together in song. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. That setting of the Hashkivenu always feels to me like a blanket or a sukkah of peace spread out over me. It's a song of comfort. I find myself sometimes reaching for the Hashkivenu in times of anxiety and struggle, and it usually gives me a sense of hope and peace. We continue now with Vishamru at the top of page 44. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot come to our standing prayers, our Amidah, the central prayers of our tefillah. Will we be having anyone join us for this one? This one will be us all together. We begin on page 46 with the tefillah, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, and I invite you to, as the prayers call for the Amidah, rise in body or spirit for our standing prayers. Adonai Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Agit Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocheh Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii Geula livnei v'neihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofeh cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Bichamocha bal gevurot, U'mido melach, Melech memit u'mechayeh, U'matzmiach Yeshua, B'neman atal hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kdoshim b'chol yom yehallelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. And now we continue in silence, either reading the prayers continuing on to page 58, or the prayers from your heart, or some combination of both. I invite you to continue, and when you are completed with your prayers, you may be seated. We continue now with our prayers of healing, bringing to mind those who are in need of comfort, of health in body, and health in spirit. I invite you, as my gaze meets yours, to say the name of someone you may be praying for. And if you are uncomfortable saying these words aloud, you may keep them in the silence of your heart. Those of you watching virtually, you are welcome to include these names in the chat, or again, hold them in your heart silently. We join together in the Mishaberach, the words for which can be found on page 253 in your prayer book. Pray for speedy recovery for all those in need. Turning to words of Torah, Chazak, Chazak, v'nitchazek. These are the words that are chanted when we conclude a book of Torah, as we do this week with Vayechi, the last portion of Bereshit, the first book of Torah. Be strong, and we will be strengthened. Such triumphant words closing out a book of learning. This week, hearing my classmates chant them at our last Shacharit morning service of the semester, all rising to our feet, I felt a rush of elation and, strength. As we continue to push through our finals, papers, performances, the last bits of learning for our secular year, the strength felt much needed. And beyond the immediate stressors of school, travel, and work, I felt a resurgence of the strength I needed to feel capable of managing a world still racked by pandemic and violence, by injustice and misinformation, and so many things that make me feel so small, so weak, so unable to hold the weight of it all. This week's Torah portion, Vayechi, brings us in at the end of Jacob's life, with Jacob speaking to Joseph and his brothers about their inheritance and expected futures. We see brothers like Reuben described by Jacob as Koachi, my strength, the greatest in rank and might. However, Reuben's future, as determined by Jacob, is bleak. We hear that he is unstable like water, and that his impulsive actions have brought him disgrace. His physical strength and power ultimately bring him no lasting success, and his birthright, as we hear later in 1 Chronicles, is transferred to Joseph. Similarly, Simeon and Levi are described as possessing immense strength of wrath and anger, but are cursed to be scattered among the land, to lose the privilege of association with Jacob. These examples of perhaps more typical, physical, aggressive strength are inevitably struck down, regardless of their perceived power. On the other hand, we see the young, the small, and those who might be thought of as powerless, or at least lacking in physical prowess, abounding in blessings. Joseph, second youngest of the sons, receives the greatest share of the blessings and inheritance. His sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, even receive their blessings in a purposefully reversed order. Jacob crosses his hands while conveying the blessing, giving the younger son the greatest honor. When Joseph tries to correct him, explaining that Manasseh is the older of the two, Jacob doubles down and tells him that while they will both be great, the younger shall even exceed the older. We hear this reversed order to this day in our blessings over children. The blessing in our Siddur, Mishkan Tefillah, for boys, blesses them just as Jacob instructs. Yisimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe. May God inspire you to live like Ephraim and Manasseh. What then is the reason for their success? What is it that gives them the strength to be the ones by which we receive our blessings to this day? We could say in part that one aspect of strength made especially clear here is strength of lineage and legacy. The former term, lineage, maybe feels a little archaic in modern times. In the time when this was written, being able to number your descendants like the stars in the sky was the ultimate show of blessing and strength. But thinking of this as legacy, this does still feel so applicable and includes even the strength of lineage itself. Not a lineage of blood necessarily, but a lineage of love and the impact thereof. What is true strength? Maybe it is not so much physical prowess, maybe not force of will, but the endurance of our positive effect on the world around us. This text suggests that maybe what makes us strongest is our ability to leave a lasting blessing in the world, and it is the strength of our enduring impact that is celebrated here. And in these days of isolation and pandemic, we can see that so much strength, including this particular brand, is needed. We need the strength to protect ourselves and others from disease and illness. We need the strength to maintain our physical and mental health and that of our community through awareness, resources, accessibility, communication. We need the strength to engage in difficult conversations that challenge our views of the world and ourselves. We need the strength to pursue justice for those who are oppressed, mistreated, and overlooked. We need our very mark on this world to be one that empowers and uplifts our community so that our legacy can continue in its greatest strength. In all of these, we realize that our strength is at its greatest, its most valuable, its most important when it is being used for the good of our broader community. Strength of muscle or in battle, like the strength of Reuben, Simeon, and Levi, may help in short-term situations. but it is the combined strength of character and community that allows us to prevail. The practice of reciting Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek begins as the final chapter of a book draws to a close. As the final words of the portion approach, the whole congregation rises as one. The one chanting the text replaces the typical melodic ending with one that anticipates, teaches the melody of the Chazak response. Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. At once, the leader is both empowering those around them to engage and also calling out for them to lend their own strength to these words and to the reader themselves. The congregation, all but the reader, sing together, joining the forces of their words, song, and breath to chant, be strong, and let us be strengthened together. Or, as it is sometimes translated, be strong, and let us strengthen one another. It's as if the voices of the congregation, uplifted by the reader, give the reader the strength to respond back again. Be strong. May we be strengthened together. We will be strengthened together. I think about my rabbinical classmate and friend coming up to chant this very portion this past week. She had come to me asking for some support and help running through her chanting, and I was happy to work through it with her. She sounded amazing, and when she got to the end, another friend walking by realized we were working on the end of a book. We would need to adjust the chanting to reflect it. So we checked with a faculty member who specializes in chanting Torah to make sure we had exactly the answer she needed. We got together a group of students to make sure they all knew how to respond. Don't worry, I told my friend, we'll be ready to respond. We have your back. It wasn't until later, as we were all singing together, that I realized this is exactly the point of this practice. Without the help of the community, this would have just been her chanting, albeit beautifully, but without the strength of the kahal, of the full congregation, the broader community, being uplifted by her words and voice and uplifting her in strength in return. This practice reminds us so visibly, so audibly, that we are here for each other, lending strength, building it as a people. I think about what it means to be pursuing ordination in the Cantorate, and for my classmates pursuing their rabbinical ordination. We are taught that we need to be strong leaders, strong singers, strong teachers. But any strength we may think that we exhibit as leaders pales if we do not uplift the community. Our strength must be primarily our ability to make others strong, to make our community strong. It is this exchange of trust and strength, this entirely mutual empowerment, that allows us to make the lasting impacts we hope to make in the world. Without a congregation, what is a rabbi or a cantor? What is a voice if no one's listening? What is strength if it's not helping others? And when we use our own powers and abilities to do just that, to uplift the community, then suddenly our strength becomes the strength of the whole, not just of our small part. The other side of that, then, is that our strength is not limited by the boundaries of our own selves. When we might think our strength is waning, we can reach out to others, reach out to the community to bolster ourselves and draw on the strength of this greater whole. For many of us, we've been taught by the world that needing help is a sign of weakness. But our very traditions and texts assure us that asking for help, reaching out to others, is precisely the opposite of weakness. Being a part of the strength of a community is how we are our most strong. We need to let ourselves be strengthened by those around us, for our own sakes and for theirs. I know that these days, when I sometimes struggle to reach out to people for help, I find myself up against the feelings of doubt. This isn't that important. You shouldn't bother them. You should be able to manage this yourself. But then I remind myself of how happy I am when I'm able to help someone in need. The gratification of feeling like someone is better off now because of my help, or that I was able to lend them strength in a time of need. Why would I want to deprive someone else of that opportunity? And more, by accepting help from others, I become a stronger part of the whole. They are strengthened by my strength. We are strengthened by strengthening each other. So, as we may find ourselves between chapters in our lives as well, struggling through times of transition, loss, loneliness, confusion, we can remember that our gift of strength is one that benefits the whole, both in our giving of strength and our receiving. Chazak, chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and never forget that it is in each other that we will be strengthened. Shabbat shalom. We turn now in our prayer books to page 282 for the Aleinu. Joining together for the reading on page 288. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. As we think of those we've lost, we hold their names in our heart and remember those in our community who have passed in recent days.
We mourn the recent passing of Phyllis Selma Schloss and observe the period of Shloshim for Jonathan Levy. This Shabbat, we mark the yahrzeit, the commemoration of the passing of Pearl Alt, Alice Chronic Barish, Jeanette Beckerman, Dorothy Burles, Aaron Cantor, Louis Cantor, Ben Chizek, Sylvia Kramer, John C. Doherty, Mary Lou Delancey, Ruth Gant Fargoldstein, Philip Feldman, Harold Feldman, Minnie Fine, Eugene Francolini, Howard Frumkin, Minnie Gibbons, Minnie Glazer, George Gorin, Norman Gordon, Esther Greenstein, Melva R. Hirschfield, Eva Eisenberg, Isidore Jacobowitz, Margaret Kidder, Gerald S. Kimball, Alvin Lichtenstuhl, Fred Morgan, Lena Moss, Jerome Myers, Barbara S. Pace, Lillian Podolsky, Daniel Rubin, Pauline Russman, Leonard Sadkin, Trudy Savransky, Elsie Schneier, Samuel Seidenfeld, Arthur Simon, David Ira Trotsky, Sarah Uniton, and Stephen Wolkoff.
Samuel Seidenfeld, Arthur Simon, David Ira Trotsky, Sarah Uniton, and Stephen Walkoff. If there are other names that you are remembering at this time, or names that I've inadvertently mispronounced, I invite you to add those, either in voice or in your heart, as my gaze meets yours, starting here. Yehi zichronam livracha. We rise together now in body or spirit as we affirm the words of the Mourner's Kaddish found on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba be'alma divrach hirute ve'yamlich malchute b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayed echol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari ve'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevara olam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudsha, brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma, v'imru, amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all of Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. A few announcements. You are welcome to join us tomorrow for our morning service at 8:30 a.m. here in Beit HaTefillah or virtually, or for Torah study at 9 o'clock, also both here or online. We would love to see you. And then we are very, very excited to be celebrating the bat mitzvah of Sophie, who will be absolutely wonderful, as we all saw tonight. I would like to give a few thanks. Thank you so much to our wonderful, wonderful pianist, Jim Burns, for guiding us through this. And every week that he's here, we are so, so lucky. And many, many thanks to Rabbis Aaron and Emily, who have helped through the tech of all of this, and to Rabbi Aaron for giving me this opportunity to lead my very first solo service. So thank you so much for all of you for being here with me for this exciting day, my very first live sermon. It means a lot to have you here. And in keeping with the theme of our sermon and of this week's Torah portion to an extent, and what we say afterwards, our closing song is Chazak by Dan Nichols. And I invite you, as you catch on to the refrain, to join in as you can, as you are willing, and to enjoy this beautiful Shabbat in strength. We have come from near and far to raise our voice in song, and the more we join in the refrain, the more we feel strong. Chazak. let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Be strong, let us celebrate our lives. Be strong, let us strengthen one another. Chazak, chazak. Be strong, be strong. Chazak, chazak. Benit chazak.